This program is recorded and presented by Chippewa Valley Community Television. The audio for this program can be heard on WRFP LP 101.9 FM.
Yes, we can start the Waterways and Parks Commission meeting. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the April meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? It doesn't look like it. Can we get a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the April meeting? Joshua and David seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is a concert at Carson.
Good evening. This is a special event that will take place at the Carson Park Baseball Stadium. Sponsored by the Eau Claire Express baseball team and the Parks and Rec Department. They're anticipating about 3,000 people at this event, which will take place on September 10th in the park. As you're aware, the Express have the beer license for that facility. Andy Dvorak, the part owner of the Eau Claire Express and the applicant, is here and could answer any questions. Their schedule would look like opening at 8 a.m., first act at 6:30, and then closing up about 9:20. So just a one night. They'd be bringing in a portable stage to put in the outfield, and then people would be in the fan deck and the grandstands. The Special Events Committee reviewed the event and recommended approval. And with that, I'd try to answer any questions or ask Andy to come up and answer any questions.
How many people do we get for fireworks? Is this no more people than we would usually have?
3,000 people would be like a well-attended Express game. For fireworks, by the time you see people on the grass there's probably close to 5,000 people in the stadium for fireworks.
Okay. Susan.
I had two questions. One would be, is it usual that you would plan a concert without knowing who the performers would be?
Is that for me? Or
whoever wants. I would say, because I would just like to know in general, if you don't normally know who.
Now you have to be very careful. But you can't judge an event based on content. So.
No, but there are different kinds of concerts may have typical results that you should know about. I know that's true at the state.
Depending on the audience that the band attracts. So Andy, if you can answer that question, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're looking.
You can come up here.
Country artist.
That should be fine.
Yeah, looking at a country artist and not. Yeah, I won't go any further.
Yeah.
The second thing is there's a discrepancy in the application. At the place where it talks about if you've been in contact with the museums about any issues that they would have, it says that the gates aren't going to open till 5:30, but on the schedule it says they're going to, because the museums are open until 5, and then at the schedule that you just showed us, it says you're opening the gates at 5. So that's they're not the same.
Okay. I guess with that schedule, I believe it showed setup earlier. But the museum closes at 5, correct?
The museum, yes. And so in the other place where it talks about how you've had a conversation with the museum.
I guess I researched the hours of operation for them to make sure that they weren't overlapping. I did not have a conversation with them because the hours did not conflict.
Okay, but in your document, it says two different things.
Sure, it says 5:30 in the document.
But on your schedule, it says
5.
So, because people start to come in early and so forth.
Yep.
Makes a difference.
We could certainly adjust that gate open time to 5:30 if necessary.
Okay. Kieran.
Yeah, for Phil.
So this one's 5:30.
Yeah.
What kind of precedent do we have for holding concerts like this at Carson Park? Concerns at all? Anything different?
This is actually the best place to host a conference, to host a concert, because it's self-contained. The Express run events that's serve 3,000 people on a regular basis, 36 times a year. They know the facility as well as any operator. There have been concerts in there in the past. We planned many times for even larger concerts. Or a couple of years ago, some of you might remember that there was going to be like a 3-day music festival at the park, and we were actually very close to hosting Justin Vernon in conjunction with the alumni, the UWEC alumni group. So, and they've all felt it was a great venue. So, and there have been smaller concerts before ball games. So, we feel very confident that's a great place, because we've got garbage, and we've got the choke points where you can control people. We've got the public address system. We have ways, and the Wi-Fi to be able to monitor weather, and of course, what I like is at the end of the event, you've got the ability to put some overhead lights on and then safely get people out of the facility on their way home.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Naborek or Phil on this? Are there any other members of the audience that want to speak to this agenda item? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Naborek.
Thank you.
One question.
Thomas.
Just one question. Football games at Carson Park that day?
Nothing scheduled.
Okay, thank you,
And
Mr. Naborek.
it would be a Saturday night.
Mhm.
So I believe the Blue Goats aren't home until like third Saturday. If I remember right.
They open on week 1. September 3rd they're playing.
And then there's a large break in there.
So I was wondering about Regis.
Yeah, I checked with Dawn, and she said that Saturday was probably the best option scheduling-wise for the football stadium to make sure there wasn't a conflict.
We wouldn't even recommend having a concert during a football game.
Okay. No one else? Thank you, Mr. Naborek.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this item? If not, is there a motion to recommend with a new gate time of 5:30 approval of the concert? Karen moves, Thomas second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Concert passes. Next item on the agenda is the Vietnam Veterans Traveling Wall Display.
Okay. This next event is an event that's been planned by Leadership Eau Claire. Travis Schroeder from Ayers and Associates, a member of Leadership Eau Claire, is here to explain the program, and as our members of the Vietnam Veterans group here in Eau Claire. We're very excited to host this. It's going to be done in conjunction with an express game, and there'll be a helicopter and a flyover that you'll hear about. But the gist of what we're looking at today is the Express already have a stadium for a ball game, but what we'll be doing in the time before, during, and after that is the traveling wall will be set up over here. This is the Carson Park event area. The Pine Pavilion is up here, the main parking lot. Baseball stadium is right over here. And then this wall will be set up, and it's obviously etched with the names of 55,000 veterans that lost their lives, and it needs to be protected. It's one of 3 walls that travels around the country, and it needs to have some special security, which the veterans will be in charge of. But with that, I'd have Travis come up and talk about what exactly they'll be doing.
Could you state your name and address for the minutes, please?
Yeah, it's Travis Schroeder. Address is W6305 Langdale Road, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, 54701. Yeah, as Phil mentioned, we're looking at bringing a traveling wall to this boulevard area. I guess that's what I call it. 360 feet long. It's an 80% replica of the true Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And also as part of that, the veterans have gotten the Canadian traveling wall, a much smaller piece, 30 foot long up in here, that we would station. We would plan to barricade the access drive off the back so nobody can drive through, and also barricade this short access drive here. We're also looking at bringing in some Vietnam war display items. There's a Huey helicopter on a trailer. That one would stay stationary, and a few other road vehicles that are road legal that would park in this green area. We may also have some designated parking for motorcycles, because obviously we anticipate large contingency of Harley Davidsons and other things to park, and maybe give them some priority parking. We plan to have a service tent down there for lost and found and just informational purposes. Obviously, this is part of a larger event that's going to happen on June 18th in the park. We're also, as Phil mentioned, doing Veterans Night at the Express game. We'll be doing a picnic from 1 to 5 on the fan deck. Military flyover after the national anthem. We have guest speakers coming. We're also using, not that it's part of the application, but the museum as part of a war memorial display that'll be up in the Chippewa Valley Museum. As far as the wall goes, the wall arrives. It'll be escorted from Osseo, military, or I shouldn't say military, a police escort, I believe, all the way from Osseo with motorcycles. So it'll be arriving in the park on Thursday evening about 5 o'clock, I believe. 4 o'clock, leaves Osseo at 3. Setup will begin that night, and I believe we may, start to see our first visitors actually visiting the wall. It's free. There's no charge to visit the wall, so it'll remain up all day Friday, all day Saturday. Obviously, we do anticipate that our influx of people will be Saturday in conjunction with the picnic, with the baseball game. And then Sunday, I think starting about 10 o'clock in the morning, or maybe between 10 and noon, it'll come down and make its way to its next destination. We'll also be using the Hank Aaron Plaza for a resource expo in which veterans get in contact with resources, and that'll all be up by the baseball stadium. We haven't got it all? Okay, good.
Are there any questions from the commission? It's etched so people can do rubbings?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Jason?
What's the wall made of?
I believe they are granite pieces, at least a granite finish on the exterior. They may not be solid granite, but I think they have a very similar finish to what War Memorial has.
Wonderful. No other questions? No other questions for the applicant? Oh, Joshua.
I had a question about the helicopter landing. So they'll be either landing on Hobbs Field that day at 1 o'clock?
Correct. At 1 o'clock, there will be a Huey helicopter landing. I guess as Dennis would put it, Vietnam style, and we'll
pop smoke and land.
And pop smoke, and that will be. I don't know how long it'll stay there. A couple hours. We do have some precautions in place in case there is any hydraulic leaks. Putting some stuff underneath it. It'll be on, I believe, Hobbs Field outfield.
Yes, that's correct. But the other helicopter will be a static display and it'll be brought in on trail.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public who wish to speak on this topic? Could you just state your name and address for the minutes?
Hi, I'm Julia McBee, and my address is 862 West Vine in Mondovi, and I'm a member of the Mike Voth Vietnam Veterans of America group. And a question I had is someone had come to us and would like to put little flag stakes like along the curb at the entrance, so it would be like pencil-sized holes that would be going into the ground. And I was asked if I could find out if there were any objections to that. It was my understanding that there were no objections to stakes in the ground, because we do need to have some stakes for signage?
I have an objection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that you should talk to staff about, because there are a lot lots of electrical lines and irrigation lines in that area.
This is for the curb for the entrance to the park.
Okay, well, why don't you talk with staff?
Okay.
That would be the appropriate place.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
Because our people can show you where you could do it and where you don't want to do it.
Okay, I was just asked to ask.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak on this agenda item?
Nick White, 2252 Frank Street. I just wanted to add one comment that I believe was part of the application. With the Huey helicopter that is landing, as well as the Air National Guard flyover, we did communicate with the Chippewa Valley Airport, the FFA, and Mayo Clinic in regards to having the flyover. I know right around Mayo Clinic is a no-fly zone, so we wanted to make sure that all those organizations were contacted and all have approved.
Good point, thank you, Mr. White. Okay. I suppose the Special Events Committee caught that. Any other questions? Is there any other discussion for this agenda item? Is there a motion to approve?
I move for approval.
David?
I'll second.
Ron seconds. All those in favor of approving the Vietnam Veterans Traveling Wall, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Special events list is the next item on the agenda.
Are there any questions about any of the special events that are on that, provided on that list?
I was just curious if it would be possible to have the newly listed events in bold or something like that, so that when we get the list each month, we can tell which ones are new.
Okay. So you want the ones that have been added since the last Waterways meeting?
If possible.
Okay.
Are we still doing that with differences to the notes at the end?
Yeah, when I remember on the director's report.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk to Kelly about doing that. Even though there's a chronological listing here, that's not necessarily when they come in.
Sure.
So that's, yeah, that would help you identify which ones just came in, I guess.
I mean, I could take the time to compare last month's to this month's, but I just sort of see them both as a big, long list and sort of glaze through it.
Yeah, I think the main reason we do this is so that you're aware of what events are coming up. So if somebody was to say, I heard Taste of the Valley is coming up this weekend, and you'd at least have a list here that would say, no, it's not this weekend, it's the following weekend. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we can do that.
Thanks.
It looks like at the beginning of the list, estimated attendance it's on there, but then it kind of drops off, like, we really don't know the estimated attendance on all the rest of the events, or?
Well, it looks like, I don't know if she's just filling in actual, maybe then, rather than estimated.
Oh, okay,
That's almost what it looks like here.
sure, okay. Okay,
Because I know she does contact each group after their event,
all right, good.
and they talk about how things went, evaluations, and then what their estimated attendance was.
David?
Mr. Feber,
Yes.
how close to capacity are we in terms of facilities usage?
Far from it.
There's lots of space and lots of time.
There is lots of space, but as Tom mentioned, you'd look at the football stadium and say, "Boy, we could host another 100 events there." Well, not really. You got to be careful because you've got to work on compatibility with Hobbs and Galine and the baseball stadium, and you're sharing a parking lot down below. So there are some times where there's a fun run down at that event area where the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is going. There might not be anything in a football field, but you really can't add another event in that football field. So you got to be a little bit careful there. But I still think that we would love to have even more special events. And I think we could host them, but it might. Our biggest problem is people come in and they go, my special event has to be the third weekend of June because we're affiliated with a national organization, and they come in like now, 3 weeks before the event, and we go, that's not going to work. We really need to know about this like last October because we've got 4 other groups that have special events going on at the same day, some at the same park. So it really helps. If we're going to increase events, so we need more advance notice, if possible, from event organizers.
And I noticed there was a Mad Dash the same day as the Vietnam veterans, but they don't start till...
I think that's in the morning, though.
Right, it starts at 9, and they don't start
And I don't
till
think it's a
1.
very big event either.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Of course, as soon as you say that, you're going to have 1,000 people.
Any other questions on the special events? Director's report? Nothing new there? Nothing's highlighted?
So that just means I didn't highlight it.
Okay.
Did update the Miracle Field, which was approved last week, and Nick could have given us an idea, but their fundraising is going very well. In order to start with their construction this summer, they need to be at $230,000 to do the initial grading, and they're at $190,000 already, so they're doing really well, the $500,000. And then they're pretty confident that they're going to be able to start playing next June. Very confident, so. The other exciting, there's actually several very exciting events. The Jeffers Road Field opened last week ago last Thursday, and that was very well attended. Great turnout. Fields look really good, still pretty rough in between the fields, but the parking lot and the concession stand and tons and tons of kids out there. It's going to be a great park. It's just going to get better and better with the addition of the Miracle Field. That's been very exciting. They had, as you may or may not have known, they had some troubles trying to raise the last $30,000 to button up some of their current projects. They had an anonymous person show up and write a check for $30,000. So it's really pretty amazing that stuff like that happens. But there's a lot of generous people in Eau Claire. Wow. So that I think, and that might not be in the report here, but and then the other thing is the stakeholders that use the Carson Park Baseball Stadium have been meeting, and as you know, that the bleachers there are in horrible shape. We don't have restrooms that are accessible in the spring. That old building, we can't turn the water on there till about this time of the year, well into mid-May. And that group there is very confident that in order to do new grandstands and put in artificial turf would be about $3.5 million. And there's a group out there that feels confident that they can raise half of that if the city would raise the other half, would contribute the other half. So the council is going to hear about that project at their next CIP meeting next week, but that's very encouraging also that stakeholders feel that confident about. And then Ron's group, Ron could probably update us on the pickleball, but you guys are doing really well, and I think we're meeting tomorrow to talk about actually starting to move dirt or at least get ready for that.
We're at $50,000.
Of the 62 or something, yeah.
We're up about 20,000 just from last month. And we've got other people that we are working here too, so we feel real pleased at the progress that we've made. Actually, it's only been 2 months that we've been fundraising.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So a lot of good things happening out there with public-private partnerships, and the fundraising is starting to really turn around, which is very encouraging.
David.
Has this group heard about being Fun City?
Oh, yeah, I guess we haven't. Another Leadership Eau Claire group this year went out and sought the title of Playful City USA for the city of Eau Claire, and you apply for it, and it's a project that you have to get letters of support from a number of people in the town, and you have to show that your community is committed to parks and recreation, and they did that. So 2 weeks ago we were notified that we were obtaining that award. So you'll start to see some signs up around town that acknowledge the fact that the city of Eau Claire acknowledges the fact that play is important and that people need places to play. And one of their main pushes, the name of the group that sponsors this is called Kaboom, and it's a company, it's a consortium of people who manufacture playground equipment from Scandinavia, and they are trying to make play more of an opportunity rather than just at playgrounds. You know, most towns, everybody has park playgrounds, municipal playgrounds, and then they have school playgrounds. Well, this group is saying, why don't we look at other areas? What about kids waiting out in front of the bus stop? What about kids waiting in line to go into a stadium? You know, why don't we have play opportunities for them, even if they're really simple things like hopscotch or and there's all kinds of opportunities for doing that where kids can be active while they're, rather than sitting. So this group is trying to promote play and activity in a little bit of a different way, and City of Eau Claire was recognized by Kaboom as a playful city. So it's kind of cool. So we'll put that right up there with Tree City and Bird City.
Jason?
Did the evaluation recommend specific ways that Eau Claire could improve?
No, that's really up to us. I mean, obviously, you know, if I had my way, I'd love to see play equipment within a tenth of a mile of every household. That would be a really noble goal. But as we know, it's all it takes is dollars to get there. But that would be quite a challenge. But there are other ways to do that, and that's what they're trying. They're encouraging people like myself and our city council and our Waterways to think about different ways to make play available to kids, other than okay, we're going to get on our bikes and we're going to ride to a playground and we're all going to play at this playground. Why can't we play at other places? So that's trying to stretch the envelope a little bit, make us think outside the box. It's very interesting.
Thomas?
We have a couple of ash trees on our boulevard that the city helped pay for, I think maybe 20 years ago. Really nice trees, and I know that we've been updated on the emerald ash borer management, and I noticed last week as I'm driving down the road, I said, oh my goodness, these trees are really in rough shape, and I'm thinking, here we go, and so I called Matthew, and Matthew said, rest assured, it was the frost.
It was a frost a couple weeks ago.
And put my mind at ease. So he's received several other calls. But I got a good update on where we are with the whole emerald ash borer plan, and it seems like the city's doing a good job in terms of managing that.
Yeah, we're ready for it. Every year we're more ready for it, you know, in terms of the brush site. We've been quietly going about it. We've been doing some of the preemptive removals. But yeah, that was the big scare last week. People were coming in with clumps of dried out leaves, and your tree. I mean, you might still have emerald ash borer, but the most likely scenario is a frost that we had last week did a little damage, but it'll grow new leaves.
Is the weed harvester operational in case we need it?
Yes, it is. It's ready to go.
Okay.
So I did send Bill James an email today asking for an update on the status of the herbicide treatment. I did not hear back from him.
Okay.
So the way it works is Bill and the DNR will call me at 10 o'clock and say, you got to cut weeds tomorrow. The water temperature and the weed depth and concentration is such that we need to do it.
Okay.
And this year we'll only be cutting south of the causeway. So that's the only area where they want to harvest Elodea, and Elodea is the native plant. But they want to try thinning out Elodea to see if there's some other native plants that pop up.
South of the causeway, so the very end of the east arm, not around the beach area at all?
Not around the beach area, right. I mean, we might come back and have to do that, like we did a few years ago for the triathlon, I think, and for sailing classes. Okay. So we might have to come in and do that. But right now, we're planning on only doing Elodea south of the causeway.
Okay.
And our permit, we have 2 permits for weed harvesting. So we can harvest curly leaf pondweed in the entire lake. We have a permit for that. But we only have a permit for harvesting a native plant, Elodea, south of the causeway this year.
Oh.
That's all we asked for, but DNR is very cautious about what we harvest. And harvesting native plants is just kind of one of those things that makes people say, what are they doing? But the reason is that Elodea has come in so strong that it's perhaps too thick and not letting other native plants come through. So we're going to do some cutting to see if that makes a difference. So this is kind of an experiment south of the causeway.
Okay. Any other questions on the director's report? That's the last agenda item then.
Okay.
How about a motion to adjourn?
Second.
David seconds. All those in favor of adjournment? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
This program was recorded and presented by Chippewa Valley Community Television. Chippewa Valley Community Television is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, you can contact us by calling 715-839-5067 or on the web at www.cbctv.org.